Welcome back to In the Green with our special guest, State Senator Alma Wheeler-Smith. Senator Smith, I mentioned I wanted to discuss campaign finance reform. It's my opinion that until we change the campaign finance system, it's going to be tough to get any other progressive legislation passed. Do you agree with that?
I do, and I've sponsored legislation to change and introduce campaign finance reform. You know, the influence of money is pernicious. It's I don't want to say that my colleagues and I are that influenced by dollars, but when you're running for office and it costs you $13 million for your seat, and big businesses, big labor make your victory possible, I think you're going to be at least more attentive to what they're asking you to do, if not outright beholden. And I think it's how different people respond. Right here in Michigan, we have one form of campaign finance reform, and that's the gubernatorial race, which is publicly financed. It's a great beginning, but until we manage the soft money issue, until we get some control on soft money, we're going to have lots of soft money running outside in the channels, those contributions made by the parties, made by so-called disinterested interest groups.
Disinterested interest
That's right, who will do a commercial designed to help a particular candidate but doesn't use the name of the candidate. That's why I say disinterested interest group.
Issue ad.
Yeah. Classic issue ad.
Right.
Until we get some control on those, even our little formula for campaign finance reform isn't going to be tremendously successful. But it does allow somebody like me without a lot of personal wealth and without a lot of businesses or unions beholden to me, willing to give me lots of support, it allows somebody like me to run for the governor's office. And to that extent, I am very grateful for that public financing.
Right. What was the legislation that you introduced and what happened with it?
Well, it's in committee, and the legislation would have changed the way we finance the operations of state government. It would have expanded the governor's formula down to the state legislature and other statewide elected offices. It would have required what we call a reverse checkoff. As you know, for the governor's race right now, we use a checkoff on the income tax, and people have to think about it, and many of them believe that it's additional money instead of a diversion of the taxes that they pay. So they don't do the checkoff. And the reverse checkoff would actually say that unless you check this box, $6 or $8 of your taxes that you are paying will go to campaign finance. And the legislation would, unfortunately, that I introduced, not control soft money, because it's our understanding that that's unconstitutional. I'm very hopeful that the federal government will enact soft money reform, and that we will have a court test on its constitutionality. As you probably remember, a number of years ago, the Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, decided that money was free speech. It was a bizarre decision then. It's had terrible ramifications today, and I'm hoping that it will be reviewed and reversed.
Well, with a different president, maybe. I'm not sure that'll happen during this administration.
Not this administration.
Right. You used some interesting language. You said your legislation is in committee, but it would have done certain things. So yes. I'm assuming you feel it's unlikely that it will ever get out of committee?
Under this administration and this legislature, it will not get out of committee. The Republicans, as you know, have a lot of resources behind them. The more expensive a race is, the better they do, because they have a greater capacity than Democrats for raising money. You know, I keep saying it isn't just money, it's the commitment of the voters. But in the last 15, 20 years, I think the Democratic Party, as well as the Republicans, moved away from the grassroots campaigns that we as Democrats used to do so well, and have gone to the big television buys to inform the public of your issues and your candidates. So it's cost more and more, and the media just eats it up. Election time comes, and the rates for commercials for elections they skyrocket. So, you know, the whole process just feeds
Exactly.
the need for money. And the more it costs to run, the more likely it is that I am going to find a need to listen carefully to those people who help me finance the race. We've moved very quickly away from democracy into a system where money talks, and the only people left in it are educated,
And it takes
well-to-do.
away from the integrity. I know if it's an equal playing field, then it stands on the person's
That's right.
qualities.
The merit of the issues and the way they address them.
Senator Smith, do you want to give a telephone number for your office or somewhere that people could contact you if they wanted to volunteer?
Well, thank you, Matt. I would love to do that. We have a toll-free number here in the state of Michigan. It's 866-486-2562. I'd love volunteers.
Go ahead, repeat that again.
It's 866-486-2562.